and thanks for joining FaithWorks Designs. Today I'm going to be exploring the world of undies. Make my own undies? Yeah, it's doable. A couple of years ago we were potty training our now 7-year-old, goodness gracious. He was almost 4 and still not potty trained, and he was having a really hard time. He was then later diagnosed with autism, and we didn't know, and there was no way for him to tell us what was going on. He could not, for the life of him, get the store-bought elastic underwear down fast enough to be able to go to the bathroom. And being the mom that I am, I'm like, there's got to be a better way to help him be able to do this. So I searched around online and I found this website called Stitch Upon a Time. It's a really neat website. They have a lot of different clothing options that you can make, but the best thing I saw was that they had little kids' underwear that you can make with cotton lycra. Cotton lycra is a stretchy material. There's no elastic in it, so that he has to mess with that. And they worked out really well, and he was able to get potty trained like that because he was able to put them up and down. I posted it on social media. One of my friends saw it and said, "Hey, do they have adult underwear?" Well, yes. Yes, they do. So I made her a pair, and they've lasted quite a few years. Anyway, when I make stuff, it lasts a lot longer, I've noticed. And she messaged me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, I need some more underwear. Do you think you can make me some more?" She's like, "I'm not buying the store-bought underwear again." You never go back. Once you go, you never go back. So today what we're going to be doing is exploring how to put the scrundlewear, I had to think about it for a second, how to put the scrundlewear together. And I'm just going to show you guys the basic steps. You're going to have to go to the website, and I'll link it down below, to be able to print out your pattern. It's fairly inexpensive. So, let's get started. So what you're going to need for this project is obviously your pattern. Now, Stitch Upon a Time has their patterns all on there. You purchase them, and then you get to download them, and then you can print them out from your computer. Now, I will say their underwear only goes up to a 44 hip. So if you're a little larger than that, you're going to have to mess around with your pattern. I'm a little larger than that, even though I'm working on it. So what I did was I made a mock-up. I got some fabric that I really didn't care about. Some cotton lycra is what you need to use. And I got some of that, and I added, what did I add? An inch and a half, I think, to everything, all of the measurements, on both the back, the front, the little piece that goes in the middle. I went ahead and did an inch and a half, cut it all out, sewed it all together, and it worked fine. So if you're a little larger, if you're 50 inches in the hips, add an inch and a half all the way around all your patterns, and you'll be good to go. Then what I did, I have to make quite a few different pairs of underwear for different people right now. I have a whole stack I'll have to show you, but they're all different sizes. And so instead of constantly printing these things out and having to cut them at different sizes, what I did was I went to the dollar store and grabbed these cutting mats. Now there's 2 of them here, so it looks like you really can't see through them, but when you open them up, you can see through them, and I should have brought one over here so you could see. But what I did was I traced them around, I put them on top of the pattern, and then just traced around it, and then cut them out with my non-fabric scissors. And then I have my pattern. And then what I've done is on each of my patterns, I poked a hole through it, and then I put them on a little ring, and I can hang them up on the wall. So whenever I have to make somebody some underwear, I have the pattern ready to go. Now, you're also going to need some cotton lycra or some knit fabric. I got these, and with knit, there's several different things. Knit can be a butt to sew with. That's the nicest way I can think of to say it. Because of several different things. 1, knit can be a 2-way stretch or a 1-way stretch. What does that mean? Okay, so with this fabric, it's a 1-way stretch. So I can stretch this way, but it doesn't stretch very much this way. So when you're cutting out your patterns, on the pattern itself, it'll tell you stretch. So you want to make sure that your stretchy fabric, the stretchy side is going this way, not this way. So just make sure that when you're cutting everything out that you pay attention to that. If you have a two-way stretch, then it doesn't really matter, which is great because then you don't have to sit there and last night I was stretching everything out trying to make sure I was doing it right. So make sure that you pay attention to that when you're cutting everything out, and then let's get putting things together. Alright, so we're going to start laying everything out. And what I normally do is put the back side down first. And make sure that you've got some clips or some pins or something. Normally I use clips. It's just easier. Then you're going to put the front side face down towards the back side. And you're going to line up and match up the crotch seam as best you can. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Alright, that should match. Okay, and then you're going to grab your little extra piece there that's kind of like the crotch situation. You put that on top of that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to clip it and then sew straight across just this one part right here. Now, when you're working with cotton lycra or a knit kind of fabric, you cannot just use a regular needle like your all-in-one universal needle. You can't do that, or you're going to have all kinds of clusters of thread and you're going to be mad. So you're going to have to go out and get you some ballpoint. There we go. Can't talk and focus at the same time. Get some ballpoint needles. I got these from my Janome because apparently you can't use regular knit needles with my machine, so I had to go buy special ones. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your machine on a zigzag stitch. You can't just sew a straight stitch on your underwear because then it's not going to stretch. So you're going to have to put a zigzag stitch on your machine, and it should be fairly easy to figure out how to turn the knob until you get to a zigzag stitch. Until you can get to a zigzag stitch. So now what I'm going to do, and this is kind of the important thing, when you start sewing knit, it kind of just wants to sink into the machine. So what I normally do is I grab the tails of my thread back here and I hang on to those and just give them just a teensy tiny tug while it's sewing so that it doesn't get eaten up in the machine. I've had that happen a couple times and it's a pain in the booty. So everything is all connected now. Alright, so the very next step that you're going to do is you're going to line this little thing up where it needs to go. And what I normally do is I lay this flat down like that, and then I'll zigzag on top of that so that this flap isn't just sitting up and irritating your skin in the back. And then this other end that's wide open, you're just going to zigzag straight across there. Alright, this is the side that we made that seam at just a couple of seconds ago. We're going to sew that down. Now, if you have a serger, you can serge that edge, but right now my serger is, yeah, she doesn't like me right now. Alright, the next thing you're going to do is grab this piece and sew straight across there so that that's, again, you can serge the edge of that if you want. Alright. Do what I said, Willis. Do what I said. That way those pieces will stay down and they will be out of your way. Alright, so now what you're going to do, now that you've got the inside all situated, you're going to put right sides to right sides, the front and the back, and you're just going to clip on both sides, if you can find your clips. We'll find them. Okay, so I'm going to clip both of my sides up, and then I'm going to sew on both the sides. These are the side panels of your underwear. So it's just zigzag along this side, and then there you are. Put this side together as well, and then just zigzag along there, and that puts your underwear pieces all together. So you're just going to be sewing on this side and then on this side. So after you've got the underwear situation all situated, where the sides are all sewn up, the next thing you're going to do is grab the waistband, and you should have 2 leg bands. And then what I do is I put the right sides together the long way. Will work with me. What you're going to do is you're going to zigzag stitch all the way down this end and the leg bands, making a full circle. Okay, so this is where it takes just a teeny tiny bit of patience, because doing it the first time you're going to be like, oh my gosh. You're going to have to figure things out how to do it. It's not like a regular pattern where you have little points where you have to meet the belts in a certain way. You just have to kind of figure it out. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your belt, the top part of your underwear, and what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half on itself, all the way around. Okay? And then this little part that our seam is on, that's going to be on the very back of the underwear. So we're going to grab the underwear and we are going to turn it inside right so they look like they're supposed to. And my child is outside screaming. I can hear him right now. So find the back part of your underwear and then your seam and try and put it towards the back. It may not stay there when you're moving it around, and that's okay. And then what I try and do is find the front like that, hold my finger there, and then try and find the front of the underwear. Do not stress out, it's okay. It's okay. Let me get that clipped and then I'll show you. You basically are going to go just like this. You've got the front of the underwear and the back of the underwear, so that we can put the rest of the clips around the top part of the underwear. Now I always do the top band first, because, you know, might have accidentally 1 or 2 or 3 times put the waistband on the leg, maybe. So if I've got a lot that I'm going to make, what I do is I normally just put the top band on all of them first. That's the first thing that I do. And then, so you just need to stretch it out a little bit and make sure that it's going to go all the way around when you sew it. That way I don't accidentally put the waistband on the leg bands or some stupid stuff like that. You do it without realizing it, especially when you've got a lot to make. So just take your time, make sure you're doing it right. And what you're essentially doing is just clipping it all the way around. So when you sew, the belt's not moving around. You make sure that it's going where it's supposed to go, so that when it's stretched out, it's all taut. You don't have any gaping or gaps. Let me show you this one. You see that gaping? Even when I stretch it out, there's a little bit of a gap there. So you're going to need to move that around a little bit, because you should be able to stretch it out together so that it's nice and flat like that. So when you stretch it, the band is going to be a little smaller than your underwear, so that it does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to hold it up. So then what you're going to do is you're going to sew around that, and then just like we did with the waistband, you're going to do that with the leg bands as well. What I do, just to make sure everything did like it's supposed to do, I'll lift the band up and just kind of go around the edges and make sure that all of the fabric is all caught. Because if you end up missing a piece of your band, it'll show through to the other side. So I just make sure that I've got all that done. Now, if you have a serger, you can serge this edge. Normally what I do is I'll go around twice and just make sure that, you know, everything's caught and that there won't be any edges to have to worry about. one of these days I'll get my serger fixed. But until that day, I'm just going to double sew everything. Alright, now grab your leg piece and you're going to do exactly like you did with the top piece. You're going to fold the seam in on itself all the way around. This is why it's important when you're cutting your fabric out that you cut it on a stretch like they tell you to. So what I normally do is I will get this seam right here and I'll put it to the top seam right here. And then I'm going to start my pinning just like I did on the waistband. I'll pin it on this side or clip it on this side. And then go straight across and clip it on this side. Now that it's all even this way, I'm going to work it. Normally what I would do is stretch out the underwear and the band and make sure that it's meeting good on both sides. Because again, the band is smaller than the actual underwear hole. So you're going to have to just stretch it out. See, like right now it's kind of loose. You stretch it out, clip it right in the middle. Make sure that there's not too much of a gap there because you are going to stretch it while you sew it. And then I'm going to move the camera so you guys can see me sewing the legs on. Once you've got everything clipped and it looks good, nice and even all the way around, go ahead and zigzag stitch your underwear closed. Get that leg on there. See what I was talking about, how I kind of stretch it as I'm going, because I need to make sure I'm getting everything and it's nice and even all the way around. Alright, I'm going to do the other leg and then I'll be right back. Alright, well now you have it, your own pair of undies. Or I think they're called scrundies, I don't know. But they're really cute, and if you've never had any underwear like these, they are really soft. You will not go back to store-bought underwear. So once you feel how soft they are and how they hold up and everything, you will definitely make a couple pair and then you'll make some more because they're really comfortable and you'll really enjoy them. So if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe and hang around for some more stuff I'll be doing, that'll be cool too. And if you have any questions or comments, you can just leave them down below. Make sure to check out Stitch Upon a Time, their website. I'll link it down below as well. They've got a lot of different patterns. If you're wanting to learn how to do clothing, they have a ton of stuff, hoodies and pants and underwear, and there's a ton of stuff on there. So check out their website. Everything's digitally printed, so you can just print it out at your computer, tape it all together, and then just go to town. I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial, and thank you so much for joining us on Faith Works Designs. Bye, guys.